So this week started with TEEGATE and it ended with TREEGATE. But was Patrick Reed really 100% certain that he could see his golf ball in a tree, Andy?
I mean, he might say he's 100% certain he could see it, but I don't know how, given he was looking up the wrong tree. Just quite incredible. I think, you know, when you slow the video down, which I've watched multiple times last night, I think Brandel Chambly of Golf Channel's done like quite a piece on it. To be fair, he is currently being sued for defamation by Patrick Reed, so he probably doesn't care too much now. But he slowed it down, and it looks as though the ball's gone into the very first tree. You know, for listeners who've maybe not heard about what's been going on, Patrick Reed clattered his ball into the tree on the par 4 17th, drivable par 4 on the third round. And as he's walking up the fairway, you know, the video is showing the ball sort of descend into the very first tree. As Reed gets up there, he's looking at the third tree, which is about 10 yards in front of that one. He's looking up at the tree. He's seen 6 golf balls in this particular tree, so he's thinking, all right, well, let's try this one. The rules officials come along with a pair of binoculars. They're both looking up. Reed's kind of going, oh, there's my ball markings in the tree. I mean, how can he see his ball markings? They've got to be bloody good binoculars to see something that's 60 feet in the air, all like the ball wedged into a tree. How you can have 100% certainty that is your Pro V1 golf ball, I don't understand. But for me, you know, fair enough. Potentially, you know, he's conned the referee into saying, you know, it's this tree. But you watch the replay again, it's in the first tree. There's no way it's in that third tree. Absolutely no way it's in that third tree. So, look, has he gained an advantage? You know, not really. But I mean, if he hasn't identified that golf ball, he has to go back to the tee to play his third shot. So you could say he's potentially saved maybe one shot. You know, in the grand scheme of things, it ultimately didn't matter, but it could have done. But for me, 100% certainty. I'm not buying that at all.
Yeah, Matt, what did you make?
He does manage to find in himself in these rules controversy situations. Reed, it is staggering how many he's been involved in. When you know, he's been involved in sort of 2 or 3, and that's more than most players. To be fair, I thought the trees were obviously very close together. And although there were quite a lot of balls lodged in the top of them, they were quite close together. So it could have got in. Wouldn't be easy for him to say which ball or which tree his ball could have gone in. He couldn't have known for sure. And he obviously felt he could see his ball in one of them. And the rule would be that if he was in any doubt about whether his ball was in there or not, then he'd have to take a stroke and distance penalty and then go back to the tee. So that's the controversy. Whereas as he successfully identified it, he had a favourable drop on the 17th hole. Then he was able to go from there. So I don't know. It is incredible how he manages to find himself in these situations. I think, to be fair with Brandel Chambly, he's got the benefit of hindsight. He's got the benefit of a slow motion camera that can see where the ball's going. But yeah, it wasn't surprising when you saw the ball sort of just go to that side of the hole, and the official Kevin Feeney was there. It was almost comical how it was another Patrick Reed rules dispute. But as a lot of people, as I've said on social media, have said, this is the reason, whether rightly or wrongly, this is the reason why Patrick Reed is box office. And that's probably why Live Golf wanted to sign him, as well as being a brilliant player and a major champion. He is box office, and these things catch attention. And we were all watching because of it, and we all watched the last round because it was Reed against Rory. If Reed hadn't been there, then I think the viewership would have been slightly less. But yeah, a really quite exciting and good week. And it was all down to Patrick Reed, you'd have to say.
And it started obviously with controversy, didn't it? At the start of the week, obviously with TEEGATE, as Harry said at the top of the show, you know, throwing a golf tee. So he goes over to shake Harry Diamond, who's Rory's caddy had his hand on the range, and Rory's just kind of paying no interest to Patrick Reed at all, just concentrating on his TrackMan. Reed's kind of, just throwing a tee in the direction of Rory. I mean, as Rory said, it was a bit of a storm in a teacup thing, but Rory and Reed don't see eye to eye, and I think that's very clear. That's very evident. And Rory was even asked about that, earlier in the week. I think the journalist said, do you ever feel like you can make amends with him? And he just shook his head. He was just like, so. But yeah, as it turned out, it was kind of written in the stars that it was going to be down to Rory and Reed at the start of the week, and that's how it ultimately played out. So look, it was a great week, a controversial week, but as Matt says, Patrick Reed and controversy just seems to go hand in hand these days, but he is box office whether we like it or not.
I'll tell you who would have loved it. Netflix and their cameras would have absolutely eaten that up. And as you say, Matt, it was, and Andy, absolutely box office. But in the end, it didn't matter, really, did it? As Rory McIlroy drained a 20-footer for birdie on the 18th to defeat Patrick Reed by 1 shot and win his 3rd Dubai Desert Classic. And congrats to you, Andy. You pick one. Well done. There's another point on the board.
Back-to-back wins now. Back to back. I'll add it to the tally.
What did you make of Rory's performance?
I thought it was an incredible performance in the end. He didn't have his A game out there at all. I'm not even sure he had his B game. It was kind of like a B- McIlroy last week. I think we all thought he would probably be quite rusty. His first event of the year. He's obviously had a few weeks back home with the family. We weren't quite sure how he was going to come out. But to shoot 19 under par, with your BC game is ominous, I think, for everyone else watching on. As I keep banging on the podcast, I think this is going to be one of McIlroy's best years, certainly in recent years. And look, he had a great year last year, but I think this one's going to top it. He started the year on fire, and I think with all that from a mental side of it, he was one behind Patrick Reed with 3-4 holes to go. With everything that has gone on during the week and the controversy that surrounded the start of the week and everything happened with the rules controversy on the 3rd round, it could have easily got to McIlroy. McIlroy could have been like, oh, imagine if I lose to Reed. Like, wow, what was, 1 down, 3 to go. Oh, I had a 3-shot lead going into the last round. It could have just played on his mind, but he hung in there to finish birdie when he needed it, and great up and down on the last. He nearly found the water on the 18th, laid it up nicely. A lot of commentators were surprised he didn't take the green on. Fantastic wedge shot into 20 feet from 90 odd yards, and to bin the putt like that, that's just clutch McIlroy, and a great start to the year. And for myself, back-to-back picks on the GolfMagic podcast. So looking to bring up the hat trick this week.
Absolutely. But it was also another exciting finish on the PGA Tour, Matt, wasn't it? With Max Homa picking up his 6th career win at the Farmers Insurance Open. Sadly, no winning picks here, guys. But, you can't win them all. But, Matt, give us the lowdown from Torrey Pines.
Not yet. I think Max Homa is really sort of emerging as a big game player on the PGA Tour, and just in world golf. He's really developed. I think his hard work and sort of graft is quite revered in the golf world. I mean, I know they all work hard, but he's definitely getting the rewards from his graft. He's having a fantastic time at the minute. That's his first win since he's been a dad. His 4th win in California, I believe. Just he's becoming a clutch, a bit like what McIlroy done at the weekend. Just a very, very clutch player. Making a superb birdie on the 16th, and then the 18th, and he's just learning to, I think, perform better under pressure. I mean, 6 wins is such a good tally now, and like I doubt he's finished there. And the majority of these wins have come in the last sort of 2 or 3 years. The time in which he's become a top player, not quite in the top 10 yet. I believe he went from 16th to 13th, I think. But a shame to see Sam Ryder sort of drop out of contention in the way he did with double bogey, a crucial stage in the back 9. But I think his stock goes up. Sam Ryder, a good finish at an event that had a strong field. He finished.
He can afford some trousers now.
Exactly.
As
Homa finished 2 shots clear of Keegan Bradley, former major champion, and 3 shots clear of Colin Morikawa, who's although he obviously collapsed at the Century Tournament of Champions, but he started 2023 quite well. Wasn't to be for Jon Rahm in the final round, but he can't win every week, I suppose. So it's not just the fact that Max Homa won; it's the fact that he's now beating good fields. I think the next step for him would be to challenge at major championships. I think that's definitely on the horizon for him. A big performance in a major championship this year. I don't see why that can't be on the cards. And I suppose the downside of the final round would be that Jon Rahm dropped out of contention at a course that he won the US Open at. But as I say, it's probably quite mentally fatiguing having to challenge as often as he does, and he can't win every week, can he? So in that respect, McIlroy's solidified himself still in the number 1 spot in the world rankings. But I just really enjoy watching Max Homa play. You can tell his swing is so sort of focused on rhythm. You can tell it's very free flowing at the minute. I think he came from 5 shots behind as well. And I think he's starting to understand that you don't have to be at the top of the leaderboards, sort of going into the last round at these PGA Tour events, as we've seen at the Century as well, to win, to be in contention. A lot of things happen in 18 holes on Sunday. And that proved to be the case for Homa. He shot a 66, I believe. Just a big game player on the PGA Tour now.
Certainly is. Well, that's a little look back at what happened in the last week at the Dubai Desert Classic and the Farmers Insurance Open. And it's now time, though, in the show where we talk to somebody who really knows what they're doing, an actual pro. And this week, Challenge Tour pro Gary Boyd joins us. Well, Gary, you're our 4th special guest on the GolfMagic podcast. Now, I understand you're out in South Africa at the moment for the start of the Challenge Tour season, which features a bit of a record-breaking prize fund this year, 8.2 million euros. So I imagine you're just probably a bit excited for the year going ahead.
Yeah, definitely. I think it would be nice to get a little bit of a share of that 8.2 million. Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, they've got a great schedule this year, 29 events. So looking forward to getting going this week for sure.
Boydie, how was the off season? Obviously been following on Instagram. Looks like you're getting a lot of work in. Were you working on anything in particular?
Yeah, off season was good. Obviously, had a good end to last year. In a better position than I am this year than I was at the start of last year. Struggling to get into events. Obviously, broke my wrist 3 years ago, so it's been a slow road coming back, but an enjoyable one, and a lot of learning along the way as always. So just working on the same things really with my coach Liam. Better luck I didn't get to see him last week. He was so busy up at the Dubai Classic with all the weather delays and all the carnage that was going on up there. So just working on the same things really, and trying to take that into this year, the form that I looked at the end of last year.
Good stuff.
Hi Gary, it's Matt. In terms of this season, have you set yourself any sort of particular goals on the Challenge Tour? And do you think you'll get many starts on the DP World Tour as well?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, all our goals out here is to get one of those exclusive 20 cards at the end of the year. That's one of the things. But obviously, sometimes that's out of your control, really. So I'm trying to work on my game where I feel my strengths and weaknesses are. So I'm going to work a lot on my short game and putting this year, where I feel I let a lot of shots go last year, especially on the par fives. Didn't make enough birdies, so obviously I'd like to get a win this year and not one of those off. It's been a little while since winning out here, so hopefully we can start that in the next couple of weeks.
Nice. Brilliant. Boydie, I've obviously known you a very long time. You've come close to winning on the European Tour down the years. Obviously, runner-up finishes 2010 Czech Open, 2011 Italian Open. Now at the age of 36, if you don't mind me saying, is the fire still burning to get back on that main circuit? Yeah,
it definitely is. Yeah, I think last year really showed that my game was kind of getting to back where it kind of should be. Really, I know that deep down I'm good enough. There's just been a few bumps in the road along the way where I haven't took the opportunities where I did have them to win. Obviously, it would have been nice to get more than one win in the 15 years I've been a pro, but I've had a lot of seconds and been up there, and it's that's what you go out there and practice for, really. And I feel like I've got more hunger than I ever had to get back out there. When you see a lot of my mates that have got their card last year, Matt Baldwin and John Parry and all those boys, that's kind of where I want to get back to, for sure.
It's great to see the determination. You've got to be in it to win it in the day, haven't you? And the guys were recently just discussing the Patrick Reed controversy, though, at the Dubai Desert Classic last week. What did you make of it? Third a tee at Rory, claiming he was 100% certain he could see his ball up a tree. How did you view it all?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost the perfect script, isn't it, for what happened at the start of the week to obviously the end. And Rory obviously got the laugh last, didn't he? So, yeah, I mean, obviously the scenario, what happened with him, I mean, he obviously needs Specsavers, doesn't he, to be honest? But it's a difficult one, really. He thinks he sees his ball. He's got a really experienced referee there, Kev Feeney, who's a great guy, great referee. So if he thinks it's his ball, isn't it? Obviously, it's hard when what happened, was it 3 years ago now at the Hero Challenge? I think he's got a bit of a reputation for what happened there, and it's kind of pulled along the way, really. So and did he gain advantage from obviously where it was? Probably not really. It's pretty much in the same tree. This game's obviously based on integrity and honesty and all that stuff. So I don't really know. Really, I wasn't there, but he's lucky that he's obviously got marshals and referees that see the ball go in the tree in the first place. If I was playing, I probably wouldn't have got that luck. I'd have been back to the tee. So, and those trees are a nightmare. You just don't hit it up them.
No, certainly. Boydie, you were once mentored by Ian Poulter, who's now on Live Golf. You obviously know him very well. First question is, did you wish him happy birthday? And the second question is, does he still deserve a chance to play in the Ryder Cup?
I did wish him happy birthday, yeah.
Okay, good.
I mean, at the end of the day, he's still one of our mates. I wished him well for last week. He played great last week, apart from his obviously finish. So his game's is trending in the right direction. I know he's working hard on his off season. Does he deserve a place in the Ryder Cup? I mean, it's not for me to decide or any of us pros, really. It's obviously the powers above us that can choose that. I'm not really sure what's going to happen, really. Obviously, they've got the court case next month. So at the end of the day, we're all professional golfers and we want to put the best teams out to perform against the Americans. They're obviously in the same situation. Who do they pick? So I don't know what's going to happen. I think we all know probably in a few weeks' time what the results are going to happen from it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure either way, it's still going to be a great Ryder Cup no matter who plays.
Definitely. Yep.
Yeah. I think, Gary, the big talking point in the golf world's been the World Golf Ranking System. And in the last few weeks, what have you made of sort of the weighting of points that goes on with the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour in terms of sort of the depth of fields and quality of fields? Yeah,
I mean, I think they've got to kind of marry up the both, really. I think last year when I think the DP World Final was, I think there was more points counting in America. Well, in my opinion, that's not right, really. When you've got the cream of Europe playing and they're not getting as many points as America, I think that needs quite a good looking at, really, to make it fair for all of us, really, because it's so heavily biased towards the PGA Tour, which it probably always has, because the best players have gone there. So I do think it needs a bit of a evaluation on moving forward. Not so much this year, I don't think they can do that, but definitely next year moving forward, especially with the Ryder Cup, because obviously the world ranking points count towards that.
Yeah, and then obviously I suppose Live Golf players, that is another issue for them. They've gone there, I think, expecting that one day they will get world ranking points. Is that something you see coming in the near future? Yeah, I mean, I think it will eventually. I think it probably has to, really, but I think there's obviously criteria where you need, I think, a qualifying school of some sort to be able to have an OWGR points. I haven't delved into it too much about what's going to happen with the points. Obviously, I think eventually they want the points because they're losing them left, right, and centre, aren't they? Because they're not playing. I think obviously Asian Tour have got a lot of points, haven't they, to play for? Challenge Tour, we get points. Euro Pro's obviously been wiped off, which is a shame for a lot of boys. But there was world ranking points there for 54 holes, so I think it will come in eventually. It's only a matter of time, I think.
Yeah, Boydie, just going back to your own career. Obviously, you've had I don't know if some people know, but you've had Soccer Saturday pundit Alan McInally on your bag in tournaments. What's it like to work with him? And is he going to be on the bag for future tournaments?
Yeah, it's good. I've known him for a long time now. He's a good friend of mine. I spend a lot of time with him. He's obviously an ex-sportsman, so he's always trying to encourage me as much as he can, really. And having him on the bag, someone that's been there in big tournaments, really playing in World Cups and Champions Leagues and all that stuff. You're kind of the same thing, really. And he's a good golfer. He plays off 4, so he thinks he's the best putter in the world. So I'm still a bit up for debate, but he is unbelievable at putting. He always says to me, if you could putt like me, you'd be world number 1. But he's going to probably do a few events this year if he can. It just depends, obviously, on his schedule with Soccer Saturday. He's still doing that, enjoying that as much as he can.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'll try and go to a few games with him and obviously play a little bit of golf in between, really. So, but he always says to me, "You can't give me 4 shots." So it's it's all good fun.
You've been with Ping for quite a while now. What clubs have you got in the bag for this season? Have you converted to any of the new G430 range yet at all?
Yeah, so last week in Dubai, I done a bit of testing with the new G430, the 3-wood and the driver. So we got some good numbers, really. So that's going in the bag this week. So obviously I've been back with Ping now for almost 2 years. And the stuff's been good, really. So I'll put the new irons and test them out when I get back from South Africa. So the new G430 it's good. It's I'm looking forward to using it this week and the rest of this year for sure.
Nice,
good stuff. Boydie, there's 2 Arsenal fans on this show today, and there's 2 United fans in myself and you. You're an avid Red. We've been to United games before. What have you made of the club's mini resurgence? I'll probably call it a mini resurgence under Erik ten Hag.
I mean, they look like a football team now, not just a team of individuals, which is what a lot of these clubs are looking like. The Chelseas of the world, they've tried to buy their way out of things. The amount of money they've spent in the transfer market is crazy, really. But I know they've got a lot of injuries, so it's enjoyable to watch Man United for sure. Now it's they're a different team to what they were 12 months ago.
Absolutely.
They seem to be on the right path of what Arsenal are, really. They took a little while to get it. Arteta's got them playing good, and whether they'll win the title in the end, we don't know. But way to go, halfway through the season.
Well, that's enough Man United talk. Swiftly moving on.
I had to get it in.
I'll stop that now.
Yeah, absolutely. Come on, we're golf. Come on, we're a golf podcast here. Look, Gary, thank you so much for taking the time. We're just coming towards the end. So we have a final 3 questions, Gary, before we let you go, that we ask to all of our guests. Quick fire questions. First up, who is your golfing best friend? Your best friend on the golf course?
I mean, I haven't really got a best friend as such, but I've got a lot of really good mates out on tour. So but I'll probably say Matt Baldwin. We go back a long time from when we were kind of 13 years old playing in the England stuff. So he'd be probably my golfing best friend out here. Obviously, it's a bit disappointing he's out there on the DP tour and I'm here, but, we'll work on that.
We'll work on that. Onwards and upwards. Nice one, mate. Second question. Obviously, golf is clearly a talent of yours, but do you have any other talents, any hidden talents? Are you a good cook? Are you a musician?
I wish I was a decent musician. I do like cooking. Yeah, that's for sure. I'm pretty handy in the kitchen. Good temping bowler, actually. I used to work in a bowling alley when I was young. So we went bowling the other day. So I give them a bit of a whooping. And so I do enjoy that sometimes when I go and have a chance to play.
Oh, nice. I have to play with the sides up when I bowl. It's very embarrassing.
Oh, dear.
I know, it's so embarrassing. Anyway, final question for you. What would you be doing? Would you be a pro bowler if you weren't playing golf, or would you be doing something else?
Probably not. I mean, I played county level cricket when I was growing up, so bit of an all-round sportsman. So it'd be something within sport, I would think. Quite enjoy a little bit of DIY as well. But yeah, probably pro cricketer, and that'd have been probably my next choice.
Nice. Sounds like a good option. Well, look, Gary, that's just about it. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you, get to know you a bit better and your thoughts. Wish you the best of luck on the Challenge Tour and your upcoming season as well, and the full year. And we've got to get you back later on in the year and catch up and see how it's all going. But Gary Boyd, thanks so much.
Thank you very much for having me. Thanks for the support.
Cheers, Boyd. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Gary.
Cheers, bud.
Thank you. Cheers, bye.
Brilliant as always to be joined by a tour pro, and Gary had lots of interesting things to say there. Although apologies, we were struggling with, it was an uphill battle with the Wi-Fi. You'd think they'd put him in a plush hotel out in South Africa with some nice Wi-Fi, but we got there in the end. So thank you, Gary, for joining us, and we'll definitely make sure we get him back later on in the year to see how he's getting on. But it is now time to look forward to what's to come, and your tips for the week, please. We've got the Ras Al Khaimah Championship and the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Andy, what you got for us?
Cool. Right. Start with the Ras Al Khaimah Championship. I'm going to go for defending champion Ryan Fox. 20-1 looks a standout price to me. Obviously won here last year. Highest ranked player in the field at world number 30. A fairly weak DP World Tour field, you have to say. I think Victor Perez is tournament favourite, who is playing well, obviously won recently. So you have to respect that. But I think 20-1 for someone who loves the course. Obviously played, had the best year of his life last year. So he's full of confidence heading into this season. I think Ryan Fox, 20-1, I'll play that as my main pick. An each way pick, quite surprised it's this big to be fair, but Guido Migliozzi, 40-1. I'm expecting a really big year for him this year with the Ryder Cup on home soil in Italy. Played really well at the Hero Cup 3 weeks ago. Okay, missed the cut in Dubai last week, but I'm expecting him to bounce back this week. Looks a great each way play for me. As I say, in a fairly weak field. I'll do my Pebble Beach now, and then Matt can come in with his picks. AT&T Pebble Beach. I can't get away from England's Matt Fitzpatrick this week. 9-1. 13th, 5th, 13th, 7th in his last 4 starts. So arrives here in great form. Obviously the reigning US Open champion. He finished tied 6th here last year. So he's got good vibes at Pebble Beach. He's the highest ranked player in the field. 9-1. It is a fairly weak PGA Tour field. You have to say it's quite a week on both sides this week. I think Jordan Spieth's joint favourite with Fitzpatrick, but of the two, I would side with Fitzpatrick. And my second pick at Pebble Beach, an Irishman who typically plays well on tough, windy courses, Seamus Power, 25-1. He's not finished outside the top 25 in his last 5 starts on tour. Similar to Guido in the sense that, this is a big year for him with Ryder Cup on the line, both going for their kind of, be their debut at the Ryder Cup. Power also finished tied 9th in this tournament last year. So again, comes in with good vibes and good current form. So Fox and Migliozzi in Ras Al Khaimah, and Fitzpatrick and Power at Pebble Beach for me, please, Harry.
All right, then. They are locked in. Let's see if you can pick up a few more points for next week. Matt?
Yeah, so I'll start with Ras Al Khaimah. I've got... Where are we? So I've actually gone with Ryan Fox as well, to be honest. I thought that was a very decent price on Ryan Fox. He's, as Andy said... He's a defending champion. I tipped him up last week, which didn't turn out too well. But yeah, I'd say last year he had an amazing year. Finished second in the DP World Tour rankings. Won the Ras Al Khaimah. Won Alfred Dunhill Links Championship. He came second at the Ned Bank. Tied 4th at Mallorca Golf Open. Second at Horizon Irish Open. You could probably just regurgitate what I said the other week. It all points to Ryan Fox having a good week. He's a 3-time DP World Tour winner, so I don't see why he can't have another good week. As Andy said, it's not the strongest field, so I think he could probably take advantage of that. He clearly likes enjoys playing at the venue as he did last year. So yeah, I'll go with Ryan Fox from New Zealand as my first pick, and then my second pick, which a player I really enjoyed watching last year, is Richard Mansell. He's 40-1, I believe, which is a very decent price for. I think he was an up-and-coming player. He was chosen on the Great Britain and Ireland team at the Hero Cup. And he just had a solid season last season. I think he came 3rd at the Omega European Masters, tied 7th at the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship, tied 4th at the ISPS Handa World Invitational. So I think, I think an upcoming player who's really enjoying his game at the minute. He's emerging as a real talent on the DP World Tour. And last year was not, I wouldn't describe it as a breakthrough because he hasn't quite won yet. but I think he's definitely he'll definitely be disappointed if he doesn't end this year with a win on the DP World Tour. And in terms of the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, I'll go with Jordan Spieth, who's a similar price to Matt Fitzpatrick at the top of the market. I think 10-1. He won this tournament in 2017, and he came second last year to Tom Hoge in 2022. He hasn't quite kicked off this year or this season that well, Spieth. He's at the beginning of the wraparound. He's only played sort of 4 times, and he didn't play that well at the CJ. Okay at a Century Tournament of Champions, tied 13th. But as a former champion in this event, I think this is a good chance for Spieth to kickstart his season. He's a multi-time PGA Tour winner, 13-time PGA Tour winner even. So, I think 10-1 is a fair price for Jordan Spieth. And then I did actually choose Seamus Power as well, like Andy. Clearly, great minds think alike. He's 22-1, I believe. He's already won the Butterfield Bermuda Championship this season. Another player that's probably wanting to make a charge for the Ryder Cup team in September. He's a 2-time PGA Tour winner altogether. He's another emerging player on the PGA Tour and in world golf in general. That's looking promising. He came tied third at Mayakoba this season at the beginning of the wraparound season, and he came tied 5th at the RSM Classic. So I think things are looking up for Seamus Power, and I think he should go close this week.
All right then, nice. Well, let us know if you follow Andy and Matt's advice or not, or if you've got your own tips, let us know in the comments below, or you can tweet us, Instagram us, whatever, just search GolfMagic. But that is it for this week's show. We'll be back next week with all of the reaction as well. Make sure you're tuned in across golfmagic.com for all the latest news and analysis across the week. And we'll be back with you same time-ish next week. I think we'll be back next week. Get your questions in, leave them in the comments section, or tweet, Instagram or Facebook, because as I said, you can just search Golf Magic and we will appear. My thanks to Andy, to Matt, to Gary for joining us. I've been Harry Benjamin. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.